Hey guys, John Planet Tech, and today we're going to be continuing on with our third-person shooter, something along the lines of like Dead Space Mobile. Something also included in this version, or in this little video, is a little level pack. It's going to have some more stuff in the next episode, but as you can see, this is our level as it is right now, and then I am actually, I was currently, before recording, I was creating some more like little assets, some sci-fi screen stuff, and this is just a work in progress, so this isn't finished. Some save panels, so we're going to be doing some saving, and then I was looking at actually working on some like work lockers, so stuff that could be hidden. So work lockers with like a little certain like green or yellow or white light are going to be locked, and other lights are going to be unlocked, so you can access them and gain entry. So it's going to be a semi-open world space station. So this is basically the I'm not going to say like office or like the formal part of the building, but that's kind of what it is. And then I have to work on a kind of a space station dock area where your ship is, because you're investigating this station. So still under progress, and let's just get to the tutorial. So this is in Blender, so as long as you know Blender, you can work with this, and then you can export it to another engine or another file format that you're more familiar with. So let's get to Copperkeep. So this is our character right here, his little ship, a little test scene, and some crates for some decoration, a level. So we're actually going to be dealing with, this is a dead NPC, and then this is a gun with a little plane. So so literally flat planes with a transparency and a little effect. I guess you could also add some sort of like particle effect to it. So if we could move it right where we need it, and mesh material, boom, or that one, and then what we can do is add some like green effect to it. Start color, and then we can go with another green. Max particles per second. Max time. Minimal life is 100. Max particles. Let's do that as I was going a little too fast for my liking, but that will work. And then we want to deal with size. So start size, we can do like 3, and then that can be 5 by 5, and that can fade out. Net gravity. Change scale to 1 by 1. There we go. So we can have different types of like what do you call it, like indicators, like hey, this is something special, or you could have create a billboard, something like this, where that will change orientation to face the screen. And then you can have something like this, an indicator like, hey, this is something special. And then what we can do is, of course, go to billboard, modify selection. Okay, so we can't modify light, so you would have to actually color that in a different engine. And there's no color thing in the special. Okay, so this is what I have so far for this. So this is for Windows. A little demo for Windows. So our character, as soon as it loads up, will walk as a walk animation and an idle animation, and that's his ship they can walk on. You can add like a little box around it, so it's like, hey, no, you can't. So this is our indicator for, hey, this is a weapon. So it's like the guy died there, and boom, we just picked up a weapon. Now, as you can see, those static, with the light, the sprites that I added, like this white sprite and this particle effect, are still there because I didn't tell them to disappear, but the other two items did disappear. So we now have a weapon in our hand, and we'll get to that. I just want to show you what we have so far. And we have this big open area which we're gonna like put like stuff in, and this is also where you actually pick up some like data pads, and the data pads are gonna be like information on like what's going on. And this is a Coke machine, or Space Coke. I'm actually gonna have like you can actually like click on it and have Coke cans come out of it. And then one of your first updates for your weapons or for your spacesuits is actually going to be over here. Same thing, similar to Dead Space. Now there's going to be about 5 weapons, so it's going to be, we're going to add a multi-weapon system into here. And so we have baked lighting. The only thing that has dynamic lighting is the actual character. So as you can tell, he could stir his diffuse skin, because there's no specular or normal mapping, actually changes color from a white base color to black. So he actually affects the light. So as you can tell, there's a light right over here, and then he'll get darker and darker when there's no more light. So we have, and then everything else is actually baked lighting. So all the shadows, if any, like this shadow right here, right on this piece, this is all baked lighting, so it doesn't affect anything. And then the light doesn't actually get affected by any sort of light. And then over here I actually have a bug in the texture where I have 2 planes on top of each other, and it causes actual collision issue with his feet. And then what you're supposed to do is actually turn on a power relay over there, and then activate a elevator which will take you to another station or another part of the mining station. So again, you can actually literally access or go back and forth between each level to literally unlock, because there's going to be certain doors to where you won't have clearance until you get later, and then you come back. Or if you want to take a break from certain zombies or something like that. Okay, so let's get straight to the actual effects. So you already know that this guy has his, if we go to player, he has a game actor with health. He has a object is controlled by keyboard, and he has a collision matrix. So he's not going to like go through stuff or anything like that. It's like, hey, this is the limit to where you can actually touch something. And then to attach the gun to him, you have to click on player, right click on player, modify selection, and then you want to attach a node to a animated joint. So this is for animated characters that have bones. This is why I choose Maximo, because it gives me a huge list of bones I can attach to. So like say if I needed to have a object attached to his bone and not to actually him, I could do that. So I could have something attached to his left arm or his right arm or his right hand. Say I need a radio in his right hand and a gun in his left hand. I could actually do that inside the engine without going into a third party like Blender or 3ds Max and attaching it that way. Okay, but right now, so you just click on one of these, and whatever you want to say, for instance, in his left hand, like on this one, it creates a folder and says, hey, you can attach stuff to this folder and affect it. So right now, Mesh 22 is actually a gun, so we're going to make that visible. And there it is. And then we can just, affect it. We can move it. So we're actually going to say, hey, I'm not going to make that visible, because as soon as he actually collides with the gun over here, and we can actually delete these particle effects because we don't need those. As soon as he collides with that gun, his gun becomes visible until it has 0 ammo. Then it becomes invisible. Okay, and what you also need to do, because remember that gun will then have a collision box, something like I can't walk through his fighter or through a wall. You're going to need to disable collision so that it won't affect his, it's like he's constantly walking against a wall or a brick. It's going to affect his actually how he walks and moves around in the world. So you want to disable the collision between a sub-object and the main object. Okay, so we've got that. We understand everything over there. Now we have this object. Okay, so we have 2 sprites with a alpha transparency through them. And it's basically a sprite that I found on the internet, and then since it was already white, I decided to use the engine to color it green. And then, so it's mesh 20, and since this is a pistol, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it is visible, that it has a collision, and that it has occludes light. Basically light doesn't, go through it. It says, okay, so on proximity to something, we have a test area, a sphere. So once he goes into that, collides into that sphere, a distance of 3, a C node, the player. So the when a C node called the player is within a distance of 3 of said sphere, it's going to enter said radius. And we have 4 actions. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the visibility of mesh 22 or the gun is going to be basically the toggle means, hey, if it's on, it's off. If it's off, it's on. We're going to delete a C node, mesh 20, and plane mesh, and another plane mesh 2. So those are what these green planes are. And then we're going to delete mesh 20, or this basically this gun. At the same point in the next tutorial, we're going to add a weapon, basically ammo counter. Now all these weapons are going to run on energy-based plasma, so it's pretty easy to at this point have a ammo counter for all set of weapons. It's just each weapon's going to have a different weapon burst. Like this one's going to be a regular blaster, and then there's going to be others that are going to be more like a plasma tank, or a more like a plasma bubble that's going to have more effect toward the enemies. It's a simple tutorial, and that's, this is something I was going to keep with. And again, we have our dead guy. Again, other dead guys. Certain dead guys, I'm going to put in a loot system to where if you click on them, you could actually find, like, say, ammo on them or health on them or something like that. Though in certain cases, they will actually later on in the level hide enemies. So you're going to actually see them like peel away while the enemy emerges from them. So that's what some of these Necromorph zombies are going to do. Oh, okay, also on the lighting system, so I place all these lights, and if we go to light mapping, we can calculate shadows, and the shadow, these are all going to place a 512 by 512, though the max is 1024 by 1024 shadow map right within the range. The resolution is at 1000. Shadow opacity 0.8, subsampling is 9, because if you go any further, unless you have a super awesome system, better than mine, it takes a while for it to render said mapping. It's not the best mapping system like Unity, but it does an actual pretty good job. As an ambient light system, I do smooth normals, and I do some color bleeding. Okay, also we're going to be doing doors in the next tutorial. And a Coke machine. And then I just have a, create a water surface, and if you fall into it on proximity to it, we're going to restart the scene. So as soon as you collide with it, boom, it's going to restart it. Because you're not actually supposed to fall into this, because this is the coolant for one of the nuclear cores that power said station, which will later, all of them will become, so we say, active in a bad sense, and you will actually have to make sure that this refills with coolant. So I'm actually going to edit this model a little bit more, so that there are actually coolant pipes that pour coolant into the system, so that it can feed through this theoretical nuclear power station. So we're gonna have like vents where it bleeds into. So yeah, that's it for now. You're actually going to be able to download this down below, and I will update the file. So expect this file and the Blender file and downloadable via Mediafire. And then the next one, again, we're going to be working on doors, Coke machine, an actual workable weapon system, health system, maybe some minor pickups, and maybe if I can get it working, again, there is a physics simulation or physics system, but it still doesn't let me walk through hallways, so that is actually quite a bit annoying. So we can have doorways, unless I have, I just can't walk through doorways, so that's kind of annoying. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to wrap it up pretty quickly, and then we can work on a top-down shooter, and then another game engine, and then a Construct 2 tutorial. So bye guys.